Hey, y'all, it's Michelle with SLP Full Disclosure. Today's podcast is going to be really exciting, and we are going to be doing something and talking about 2025. So, this episode is just to kind of set the tone for topics and guests and things that we're going to have on the show in the upcoming year. I've had 1,000 things come through my mind that I wanted to talk about. And of course, we can't do 1,000 episodes, but we will likely get to as many topics as we can. Our first, and I don't know if these are going to be in order, so keep that in mind. I'm just going to be throwing out these topics in general, and they may not be in order, but we're going to be hitting all of these topics in 2025. So stick around. It's going to be fun, and don't leave us hanging. So the first person I want to talk about is a little girl. I say little girl. She is a young woman now that I met when she was probably 12 months old. Her name is Mary. And Mary was born with hydrocephalus. And I am going to have her on the show because I want you guys to hear her incredible story of the challenges that she's faced and all of the things that she's overcome with the multiple brain surgeries that she's had. She is an incredible young woman. She's smart and she has so much to tell. And she is amazing at telling her story. And she has a new job, and I'm not going to tell you guys what that job is, but I'm going to let her tell you when she comes on the show. I also want to have her mom, Jana, on the show. And Jana and I, like I said, I worked with Mary when she was in early intervention, which has been 25 years ago. But I want to get a parent's perspective on her challenges and how she navigated that journey of the medical diagnosis. And just the things that she's faced over the course of 25 years that she's had Mary in her life. So that's going to be, that will probably be a couple of episodes, a couple of podcasts. So they're going to be incredible. Their story is amazing, and I cannot wait for you guys to meet Mary. I also want to highlight a program, and I know there's more than one program out there, but I have reached out to a contact person at Mississippi State University, and it is the Access program. And Mary actually graduated from this program. It is a 4-year program at the university level, allowing students with disabilities to experience that college life. So I want to highlight that program and maybe talk about the other programs that are across the nation at the collegiate level. Because I know that before Mary started talking about this program, I was unaware. So if you're unaware, there are programs at the university level for children with disabilities or individuals with disabilities, I should say, to experience that college life and learn those skills that they're going to need as they navigate life as an adult. We are also going to be talking with Erica Trump. Erica is an occupational therapist who specializes in sensory integration. And we're going to be talking about that big buzzword, dysregulation, something that I know all of you speechies out there have heard about. It's a word that I hear a lot. And we're going to be getting her knowledge and her take on the use of that word and how the dysregulation impacts language and how it impacts overall development, and what we can do as speech-language pathologists to help those kids who are having some of that sensory dysregulation in speech, how we can help them overcome that to help develop some of that language and articulation. We're also going to be talking about another very, very important topic: social skills training for children with autism or individuals with autism. I keep saying children, but obviously individuals. So social skills training. So as you know, there are a lot of programs out there targeted to help individuals with social skills deficits, whether they're on the autism spectrum or not. So I have one in mind. I'm not going to say it just quite yet because we haven't nailed down the speaker. But if we can't get this speaker on, we are definitely going to find someone else out there who can come on and talk to us about social skills training and how we can integrate that into our therapy sessions on a daily basis. I've also made contact with a professor at the University of Mississippi and who does a lot of research on how language delays impact reading. As speech-language pathologists, we know that the kids that we work with, we're often not the only person who is providing support to those students at the school level. So they're going to have RSP teachers. They're going to be receiving support with reading, with math, all of those different things. So we're going to talk about how language deficits can impact those reading skills And I also want to talk to her about that crossover because I know that's something big that I have been seeing recently, that a lot of the things that I'm working on as a speech-language pathologist, the RSP teacher is also working on. So making sure that we're not targeting the same thing and that making sure that we're working together to reach that final goal that we're trying to reach with these kiddos. We're also going to be having an AMN traveler on our show to just share their experiences and what it's like working with AMN and maybe all of the amazing places that they've traveled. And that's going to be super fun too. I know that I've shared my experience as a traveler, which was cut short due to the COVID pandemic. But it's going to be really fun to hear the experiences of another AMN traveler out there. We're also going to be talking about resume building for you new grads out there. I am no expert in this area, so we're still trying to find someone who's going to be able to come on and talk about the important aspects of your resume and how to build that resume to better market yourself in the field of speech-language pathology. We're going to also talk about our AMN mentor program, specifically designed for our clinical fellows. So I know that it can be very scary when you're graduating from graduate school, going out into the world of speech-language pathology in your clinical fellowship year. And we're going to be talking about that mentor program and what we offer here at AMN. And also an area that I feel like is an area of weakness for me is the area of fluency. I've reached out to several professionals in the field who have that targeted specialty of fluency, and I'm hoping that we can have someone on that can help me learn and help me grow in my profession as well, because I have seen a lot more fluency kiddos come across my caseload in the last few years. And feeding. I know in the school system, which is where I am, as a speech pathologist, I don't do feeding, but we've got speech pathologists in early intervention who are in private clinics, who are in the medical field, or in the medical setting, that you do work with kids who have feeding difficulties. And I actually had a kid in early intervention that I worked with in the last few years that had some pretty significant difficulties with feeding. And I just did not have that knowledge base to help. But I did learn a lot from our occupational therapist. So maybe have a speech-language pathologist and an occupational therapist on to talk about that and talk about those feeding issues and things that we can do to help support those families during those times. And then bilingual. I know that we've got a lot of kiddos right now that we work with probably across the board in all states who are speaking multi-languages. Not necessarily Spanish. I know I have a lot of Hmong speakers that I work with out in California, but I want to have a bilingual speech-language pathologist come on to talk about those differences in those languages and how they impact evaluation and how they impact treatment, and what we need to look for as speech-language pathologists as we're working with these kiddos and evaluating them and getting them in to get the support that they need. I know I've learned a lot working with the bilingual kids that I've worked with in the past few years, just as far as, articulation errors that are present in English are not always present in Spanish and vice versa. So it's been really interesting, and I've been really excited to learn and grow in that area as well. And then I also want to talk about NSHLA, which is the student chapter of ASHA that is all universities have a program or have that chapter at their universities, and the importance of being involved in those programs and what those programs do to support the students as they go through graduate school, get ready for graduation, and go out into the workforce. And I'm really hoping that I can have the University of Central Florida on, because they were the NSHLA chapter of the year, and they were recently recognized at ASHA. So lots and lots of amazing things coming your way in 2025. So also make sure that you guys go over to TikTok, follow us on SLP Full Disclosure over there on TikTok. It would be a great place for you guys to just watch short snippets of the podcast, and then also a great place for you guys to drop comments and maybe let us know what topics you want to hear about more of in 2025. So thank you guys for joining us today. And remember, if there are things that you guys want to hear about, go over to TikTok, find us on SLP Full Disclosure, and drop us a line. All right? Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for tuning in to SLP Full Disclosure. You can learn more about this episode and our show on our website at amnhealthcare.com. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend and subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. You can also find show updates and SLP opportunities on our Instagram at AMN Allied. Special thanks to AMN Healthcare for making this show possible. See y'all next time.